Turkish President Erdogan and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden are set to have a phone call on Thursday to discuss the latest situation in Ukraine. Let's go now to visiting professor of government at Harvard University, Thomas Remington, who joins me from Cambridge there in the U.S. Professor, what are your thoughts on the diplomatic efforts taking place and this phone call between Biden and Erdogan? What can we expect?
I'm hopeful that today there are some signals indicating a willingness on the part of both Ukraine and Russia to see if a diplomatic settlement is going to be possible. I wouldn't expect any immediate outcome of this. It will probably take a long time, during which the situation on the ground with respect to the interplay of forces will make a big difference in the calculations of each side. President Zelensky of Ukraine issued an important statement yesterday on the presidential website indicating an openness to negotiating, including what would be the status of those two eastern provinces and even of Crimea in return for security guarantees. Therefore, if Russia is also eager or at some point willing to wind up or minimize its losses, then there could be some kind of a negotiated settlement. We certainly must hope so.
What kind of agreement do you think would be possible that Putin would agree to that would convince him to pull Russian troops? Because it seems like he's invested quite a bit into this attack into Ukraine.
We can only imagine what his calculations are, or indeed if he is the only one calling the shots. For him, anything regarded by the political and military establishment as a defeat would be a personal political defeat for him, quite devastating. So he's subject to being humiliated if he accepts anything less than very significant concessions on Ukraine's part. But it may be that he will accept a settlement which is less than the full loss of Ukrainian sovereignty or statehood, with the mediation of Turkey, which is very important here, potentially other players as well. It is possible that the outlines of a settlement will be reached. We must be hopeful. I think we have seen efforts successful, even if imperfect, in the former Yugoslavia with the Dayton Accords ending the Bosnia-Herzegovina war. It is not impossible that this war will be ended through a negotiated settlement rather than capitulation on Ukraine's part.
So 2 weeks into Russia's attacks in Ukraine, and we finally have the U.S. banning imports from Russia. Do you think the West and NATO should be taking a tougher tone with Putin, or is that really just too risky?
Oh, I think the tone in the West has been unexpectedly hard, and even more than the severity of the many sanctions has been the unity displayed by the Western alliance generally, NATO, the European Union, and a number of countries that are not part of either body. This massive international voluntary effort to punish Russia for this outrageous violation of the most fundamental international norms is, in my experience, unprecedented. So it seems to me the United States is exercising leadership, but I'm pleased to see that not only is the Turkish leader involved, but so is the Israeli prime minister. And there are efforts, therefore, I think, to find some basis on which a peaceful outcome is possible.
All right, let's certainly hope so. Professor Thomas Remington joining us from Cambridge. Thank you.
Bye-bye.